Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm all set to count down the 40 most played country records in the USA, compiled by Mediabase 24/7 for the week ending August 22nd, 2026. Before I get started with this week's run to number one, let's take a look back at last week's top three. Number three was Chevy Silverado by Bailey Zimmerman. Number two was Be By You by Luke Combs. And the number one song last week was I Can't Love You Anymore by Ella Langley and Morgan Wallen. Now, can Ella and Morgan stay at number one for another week? Let's begin our climb to number one. For the first of the 40 biggest hits, here's Flatland Cavalry spending a second week at number 40 with Never Coming Back. At number 39 for a second week, here's newcomer Jacob Hackworth and What Took You So Long. Easing down a notch to number 38 is Ashley McBryde with What If We Don't. At number 37, moving up one, it's Cody Johnson with Horseback. At number 36 for a second week, it's Kevin Powers and Shabuzi and Move On. Slipping a notch to number 35 is Parker McCollum with Killing Me. Up 1 to 34, Megan Maroney with Medicine. This 30th week on the chart, he slips a notch to 33, Shane Prophet with Long Live Country. Just his third week in the countdown, he's up a notch to 32, Luke Combs and Rethink Some Things. And slipping a notch to number 31, Chase Matthew with Holding It Down. In his 18th week in the countdown, he slips a notch to number 30, Russell Dickerson and Worth Your While. At number 29, slipping a notch, here's Blake Shelton with Let Him In Anyway. Leaping 3 notches to number 28 is Alexander Kay with Straight for the Heart. Slipping a notch to number 27 is Hudson Westbrook and Painting You Pretty. At number 26, up a notch, is Braylon James and Water at a Wedding. For a second week at number 25, Ella Langley and Loving Life Again. For the 5th week in a row at number 24, it's Dustin Lynch with Easy to Love. Easing down a notch to number 23, John Party with Boots Off. Trading places with John, climbing one to number 22, Jelly Roll with Hands Up. Slipping a notch to number 21, here's Riley Green and Think As You Drunk. In their 27th week in the countdown, they slipped 3 spots to number 20. Hardy, Eric Church, Morgan Wallen, and Tim McGraw with MacArthur. Also slipping 3 spots is Dan and Shay, checking in at number 19, called Say So. Inching up 1 to number 18 is Lainey Wilson and John Mayer with Phone, Keys, Wallet. Inching up 1 to number 17, newcomer Zach John King with Get to Drinking. Slipping back 1 to number 16 is Zach Top with South to Sanity. And here's the week's biggest mover again this week, up 6 notches to number 15. It's Morgan Wallen and Been By Now. At number 14 for a second week is Lauren Elena and Chase Matthew, called All My Exes. At number 13 again this week, here's Luke Bryan and Country and She Knows It. Slipping a notch to number 12 was a back-to-back hit by Luke Bryan as he joins George Burge with Ride, Ride, Ride. And the song has been on the chart the longest at 42 weeks, climbs 1 to number 11, John Morgan and Kid Myself. Alright, here's the first of the 10 biggest hits, down 6 spots from number 4 to number 10, Morgan Wallen and Don't We. At number 9 with his former number 1, Josh Rouse, hanging in there with Hate How You Look. For another week at number 8, the former number 1 hit by Jason Aldean, here's Don't Tell On Me. Up 2 spots to number 7, his 14th week on the chart, Kenny Chesney with Carry On. For a second week at number 6, the latest by Taylor Swift, called I Knew It, I Knew You. Up 2 spots to number 5 with her first hit, with Stella Lefty with Boston. At number 4, climbing a notch, Kane Brown and Woman. For the second week at number 3 is Bailey Zimmerman with Chevy Silverado. The song at number 2 for the second week belongs to Luke Combs and Be By You. Well, the number 1 song in country music for the second week in a row belongs to Ella Langley and Morgan Wallen, called I Can't Love You Anymore. It's Alaballa's current album, Dandelion. And that is our countdown of the 40 most played country records this week. Join me again next time. Once again, we'll count them down and we'll find out who's got the number 1 song in the USA in country music. Thanks for listening.